daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome everybody to the Daily Premier League podcast. It's Thursday, the 2nd of October. The nights are drawing in, the leaves are falling, so pull up a chair, come close by the warm fireside as we take a deep dive into the twists and turns of the Daily Premier League. Well, of the Premier League. It's not called the Daily Premier League. That's our podcast, the Premier League. I'm Ken Davis. He's Nick Britton. And a very warm welcome to you, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you very much. I'm very well. It seems to be lots of football going on at the moment, which is good because, like, after Saturday, there's an international break. So it'll be football thin. No, don't shake your fist like that. We don't like international breaks.
No, we don't like
international breaks are boring. So, no.
Maybe.
So, loads of good league stuff, Champions League stuff, Europa League stuff, Europa Conference League stuff that's going on at the moment. Yeah. And lots of football going on, yeah.
We'll do something slightly off the cuff next week then. We just think of random things we've always wanted to talk about football while we're waiting for the football to start again. But in a packed programme, we've got two things we really want to talk about tonight. Three more Premier League teams were in action in the Champions League last night. Newcastle, Arsenal and Monaco. I want to talk about those games, what we took away from those. Three really quite entertaining games, I thought. And then we'll have a look at the fixtures for the weekend, see if we can pick out some of the key games ahead and maybe make some predictions, which we always get wrong. By the way, when we did our predictions last week, in fact, we only ended up doing 7 of them. You managed one correct result, not even score, result. I managed 3. It was
a weird weekend, wasn't it? I mean, it's one of those where nobody's going to win the pools, if anybody can remember what the pools are. It was a very, very just a strange weekend of football. All sorts of just odd results here, there, and everywhere. You couldn't call some of them. You really couldn't call some of them.
I think we're in for a similar weekend this weekend as well. Looking at it, so the games last night: Union Saint-Gilloise 0, Newcastle 4, Arsenal 2, Olympiacos 0. Our friend from Forest was there in attendance, and Monaco 2 against Man City 2. We'll come to the Newcastle game first. Newcastle looked great. They looked pretty devastating last night. I thought impressive.
Sorry, just take a step back here. Our friend from Forest was what? And who is our friend from Forest?
The owner, Mariakis.
Oh, him, right? Okay, fine.
He's also the owner of Olympiacos.
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
he was.
Yeah.
What his name is? It's some Greek bloke. He's also the owner of Olympiacos.
I know. I didn't know what you were saying. Yeah. No. Let's get on to Union SG and Newcastle United. It was a very, very good, and I've got to say, much needed win for Newcastle. They played them off the park. There was lots of talk going into this game. This will be a hard game because Union SG have started the Belgian Pro League really well, top of the league, playing good football. To be honest, Newcastle made them look a little bit like a Sunday League side. They won really comfortably. Yes, Nick Pope had to make a couple of saves, but to be honest with you, once the first goal went in, it was never in doubt. They were so much better.
Yeah,
and it was a much needed win.
Yeah, I think that's a really good game for Newcastle. They need it because they've got a big game coming up at the weekend. I think I think they'll win because they're playing Forest, but there's been some doubters, I think, amongst looking at the Newcastle start to the season. It hasn't been great, but they just looked pretty accomplished last night. Voltemada continues to look a good player. Voltemada.
Yeah, I looked at their lineup, and other than Dan Burn at left back, which I don't really like to see him there, he's still a good player, still a good defender, but obviously he can get done for pace down that outside. Other than that, they really put out almost their pretty much first team. I think from midfield up, they put out their first team, and I was really excited because you've got my feelings about the midfield 3 in Newcastle.
Yeah,
Guirassy, Joe Linton, and Tonali. I think they are arguably the best midfield 3 in the country. I think they're a great unit, and Tonali particularly has come to the fore massively as arguably Newcastle's most important player. I think Bruno used to be it, but I think Tonali is it now. Yeah. So influential, so good. But more importantly than that, their front line of Elanga on one side, Gordon on the other, and Voltemada in the middle is the strongest front line they've played this season.
Elanga looked very good.
Elanga's great. I'm not sure why he's not been getting that much football.
He he looked really, really sharp going down the right hand side.
What I like about him is that he's very, very direct. So he gets the ball.
Yeah.
His first thought is attack
Yeah.
the fullback, get a cross in. He's lightning quick. He's strong. And earlier on in the season, if he was crossing it into Anthony Gordon, who was playing 9, and that doesn't work because Anthony Gordon isn't a 9. But now he's got a proper target in there, Voltamada. Now we can see. I think that could be a very, very good partnership. I really do.
Well, the top 6 looks pretty good, doesn't it, for Newcastle? I mean, the midfield and the attacking.
Yeah,
three.
very much so. And they showed it last night. They were so much stronger.
Yeah,
they really were. They got 2 penalties. Fine.
He smashed him well with Gordon, didn't he? And I was wondering about that when he stepped up to take the penalties. I thought, if he, because he's not Mr. Confidence in front of the goals at the moment.
Well, funny enough,
he dispatched it.
Well, we were wondering because I was watching the game with my wife, who's a massive Newcastle fan, and we got penalties. And she won't thank either you or me for saying that. Let's hope Zencastr. When it comes to your Zencastr ad, it says it cuts out stuff that you don't want to get aired. That's probably it.
Oh my God! I can't believe I said that.
No, I can't believe it.
Beautiful. She's svelte.
And no, she is. That's fine. Anyway, she kind of looked at me. She said, "I don't actually know who's going to take. Who's our now that Isaac isn't here? Who's our penalty taker? I literally no idea who's going to take the penalty." And then Trippier was. They do what they do these days, which is try to confuse the goalkeeper because it's always somebody else who picks up the ball, isn't it? It's never the old penalty taker stands over the ball, puts it on the spot and shoots and scores. Somebody else now has to pick up the ball to throw everybody into a state of confusion, which is just stupid. And then he gave it to Gordon. And we're thinking, right, is Trippier going to take it? And then gave it to Gordon. He dispatched both with a plum. That's the only way I can say it. Or even a plum. And no, fair play. So that was good. Good to see Asula on the pitch and getting an assist late in the game. Good to see Harvey Barnes getting Harvey Barnes' goal was very good, by the way. Lovely little ding. I think he fooled the keeper. I think the keeper thought he was going to go the other way. Voltamada on the score sheet is good. So it was actually the perfect night. It was the perfect night for Newcastle, who, of course, going into it, had the defeat against Arsenal, which wasn't great. News of Livramento's knee injury, which is going to keep him out for 8 to 10 weeks. So it was a all-round, much-needed, morale-boosting win. And, of course, for the Champions League, it gets them off the mark. It's the first away win in the Champions League for quite some time. The last time they were in it a couple of years ago, it was a different format. If you remember, it was like group stages. Yeah. They played 3, didn't win a game. Drew 2, won 1. Sorry, Drew 2, lost 1 rather. So it's good to away from home. I'm talking about here. So it's great to get an away victory for them. And having lost the first game at home to Barcelona, they're up and running. Yeah,
it's good. It was a get-right night for Newcastle. Let's hope they can continue that the weekend because they're playing fine. Second game, Arsenal against Olympiacos. Thought Arsenal looked good. Some amazing counter-attacking football by Arsenal. They are so quick, so precise, so devastating on the transition. They missed a load of chances, but they look full of ideas. They look full of energy. I just thought they looked a good team. It could have been anything last night. Ended up being 2-0.
Should have been 5 or 6.
Yeah.
If it had been 5 or 6-0, it would not have. Nobody would have batted an eyelid, would they?
No. And I just think Arsenal look good. Arsenal look the best team in the Premier League to me. Yeah.
No, they are at the moment. I don't think anybody's going to doubt that. Particularly, they had a strong lineup. There's a lot to. If you're a club like Arsenal or any team, to be fair, that's unfair. If you're any Premier League club playing in the Champions League, you've got a real kind of dilemma on your hands as to who you play when and where, because you've got to play your strongest team in Premier League games and you've got to play your strongest team in the Champions League games because it's a really unforgiving competition. So until the League Cup comes along where you can stick out the reserves or the FA Cup, it's hard. So Arsenal put out a really, really strong team last night, as you'd expect. No Eze starting, which was a bit of a shame. Rice also on a bench, but that middle three of Odegaard, good to see him back playing football regularly. Zubimendo's
and Martinelli, suddenly everybody's best mate.
This is the point I wanted to make, you see. It's the point I wanted to make. So it's 2 players who were so close to being out the door in the summer.
Yeah.
When Arsenal signed Madueke and signed Eze, Martinelli and Trossard they had half a foot out the door.
Yeah.
They had but yet both are really contributing very heavily, both in the Premier League and now in the Champions League. And for Arsenal, that is amazing. I mean, that's got to be a bonus, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've got a fantastic strength in depth, Arsenal. I mean, Martinelli, Trossard, Odegaard, they're outstanding players. I know some of the Arsenal fans got a bit frustrated with Martinelli, but every time I see him, I'm impressed by him.
Yeah, the frustration is that he doesn't score enough goals. It's as simple as that. He gets himself in loads and loads and loads of good positions down the years, just doesn't score. His conversion rate isn't good enough. So you can't really play him through the middle. You play him out wide. I mean, his goal last night was amusing because it was like one of those you score in the school playground, whereby somebody else has done all the hard work. In this case, it was Gyökeres. Hits the post, kind of trickles out, and Martinelli from all of half a yard, maybe a third of a yard, puts it into the net. And fair play to him. Got to be there to score it, but it wasn't the hardest goal he'd ever score.
No,
yeah, that's the problem. But I think
looks good though. I thought he looked powerful, looked strong. I mean, that goal, and he wasn't favoured to get to that ball. He burst through to get on the end of it. I was impressed with him.
I think he is looking stronger and stronger every game.
Yeah,
I really am. I think he's looking better and better every game. But the good thing about Martinelli and Trossard, what I like about them, what I'm impressed about them, was it would have been very easy for them to just down tools, if that's the right phrase, or not bother, or go on strike, or demand a move when they saw Eze and Madueke coming into the club. But they haven't. They've stayed there. They've got their head down. They've worked hard. They're contributing massively, both in Premier League and the Champions League, and all due credit to them. And Arsenal are absolutely benefiting from it.
It's the strongest squad in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure about that. And finally, Man City, 7th in the Premier League, of course. 2-2 against Monaco. Monaco's not an easy place to go and get a victory. City seems to have a very good first half, but seemed to fall away a bit. Just lacked a bit of intensity. Ended up giving away that very silly penalty, very silly challenge, I thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure why this is deemed controversial, this penalty. I've heard it was a controversial penalty.
It's not controversial.
I mean,
it's silly. It's controversial.
Yeah. Gonzalez kicked Eric Dyer in the head.
Yeah.
Or the face. What's controversial about that?
Nothing. Are people making a thing about it, that it's controversial? It shouldn't be
well, Pep Guardiola refused to even he just got the ump about it after the game.
Wow.
Refusing to comment. So when he's asked about the penalty, rather than going, it was a penalty, Gonzalez. I mean, when Gonzalez connects with Eric Dyer's face, with his kind of shin, his leg is above his own shoulder. It's a straight leg above his own shoulder. I mean, people say, he kicked the ball. Well, it doesn't matter.
No, it would have been a foul anywhere else on the pitch. No one can complain about that. But they just City were the better team. They just allowed themselves to get pegged back. They should have been out of sight, really.
They had periods of the game where they were well on top, and I mean, look, as well as the game going, so that's what happened to Eric Dyer. I wonder what he was up to these days. It was one of those where Haaland scores twice again.
He's a phenomenon, though, isn't
he? He's unbelievable.
52 goals in 50 games in the Champions League.
Yeah, but he came out afterwards, didn't he? He was quite critical.
He wasn't happy
of his own teammates. He said that the team were lacking in energy. He said they did sort of unnecessary things in the second half. We didn't play good enough. We didn't deserve to win. He at least had the good grace to say, if you kick someone in the face, I guess it's a penalty. I didn't see it, he said, but I guess that's what happens. We need more energy. We need to get at them more in the first half, where they dominated, obviously. So, he's reflective of the fact the second half it just sort of dropped away. The energy levels dropped away.
Do you like that? Do you like to see a player do that? Or do you think that should be kept inside? Do you think a player should come out and say, look, we're terrible, the team lacked energy?
Why? Absolutely. Yeah, why wouldn't you? As a supporter, I want to hear players. If I'm supporting that club, I want to hear what players reflect what I've seen. Because if I'm supporting that club, I've seen it. If I'm not a supporter of the club, and I'm not a supporter of Manchester City, obviously, I like to get the players' view. I like to get that kind of inside the dressing room view of what individual players or collaboratively, what the team, and you don't ever get it from you don't really get it from the managers. You never really get in a kind of unsanitized version from the managers, but the players are often, or can be, a little bit more open. I don't like it when players are interviewed after a game, particularly when they've had time. When they come straight off the pitch, it's quite difficult because the adrenaline's pumping, they're tired and all that. But when they've had time to have a shower and reflect and come back out, I don't like it when they're just very bland and boring and non-committal.
Which is the general.
The
vanilla kind of interview.
Where you learn nothing from. You learn nothing about either the game or their mindset or what they're thinking. So when Haaland comes out and he could easily have come out and go, yeah, we did well, we're a bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
It could easily have done that, but I think to say what he said reflected what people have seen, and I think that's good honesty, and we should have more of it.
Yeah, I like Haaland. I think he's a good interview. He's the other thing that interested me about that interview was when the interviewer asked him, well, you didn't get any touches for the first 15 minutes. How do you feel about that? Would you like to be more part of the game? He said, I don't care. I don't care. I have a job to do. I do it. Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
I really like his clarity. I really like his honesty. He's always worth listening to, Haaland. So, brilliant. As we go into football, it always pays to get, as we know in football, I should say, it pays to get your team selection right. And here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spend a lot of time selecting our delivery partner. And we chose Zencastr because Zencastr makes it easy to bring your vision to life and share it with your audience, wherever they may be. It's got 4K video recording. It's got very easy AI editing. It's got top tier distribution tools, and it's all on one platform. So if you've got a story to tell it with Zencastr. Check the show notes for more details. You will be pleased you did.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Right, we enter part 2 of today's program. Just by the way, before we get into that, if you want to send us an email, any aspect of Football League, teams, selection, anything, you can drop us an email at dailypremierleaguepodcast@gmail.com. I think in the international break, we'll probably have a post-bag edition because we've had a few emails in. About time we caught up with them. There's a few topics to talk about in the post-bag, so we'll probably do a post-bag one in the course of next week. Right, without further ado, let's have a look at the weekend's fixtures. We're going to do predictions. Don't need scores, just need the direction of the result. So first things first, we've got a game on Friday night, which is always good fun. We'll deal with that first. Bournemouth in 6th place against Fulham in 11th. You remember last week, Bournemouth drew 2-2 with Leeds. Fulham lost 3-1 at Villa. How is it hanging, Nick?
Well, it's not hanging very well on the basis that I only got one prediction, even vaguely right. Every single
chance of glory.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of minded to play a bit safer. I went out on a few limbs last weekend. I'm minded to just say that every single game is going to be a draw because I've got literally no idea what's going to happen anymore. Everything I thought was going to happen last week didn't. So I suppose I'm saying if I was to say don't ask me, kind of negates the point of doing this podcast, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's not the greatest podcast that's ever been released, is it? Yeah, welcome to Don't Ask Me. And in this edition, we won't answer anything. So Bournemouth against Fulham.
Don't ask me.
I'll go first if you want.
You go first then. Go on.
Well, I think that's a clear home victory. I think Bournemouth are playing it right.
Well, that's my point. That's exactly what I'm thinking about. This should be a clear home victory. But like last week when Bournemouth had their last home game against Newcastle, they were rubbish. And you go, well, why are you playing like this when you can play so much better?
Well, they were playing Newcastle. This time playing Fulham.
No, but Newcastle were rubbish as well. It was just a terrible game. And I'm thinking, what happened with Bournemouth last weekend? Actually, let me have a look.
They drew 2-2 with Leeds.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they got a late and thoroughly deserved equaliser. Yeah, I mean, look, yes, home win. It's got to be a home win.
Exactly. Right into Saturday. Good game, this. I'm looking forward to this one. Leeds against Spurs. Leeds in 12th. Spurs, of course, still up there in 4th, inverted commas, somehow. Leeds drew 2-2, of course, with Bournemouth. We just talked about that last week. Spurs had a kind of slightly lucky 1-1 against Wolves, of course. Wolves, bottom of the league. So...
Well, they weren't great. They weren't great.
On a rainy Saturday night in Leeds.
Well, it's 12:30 kickoff, so it's an early game. Tottenham lucky draw against Wolves. They weren't great midweek against Bodo Glimt. Yeah, I'm tempted to fancy Leeds on this. I'm tempted for sort of. I know we're not doing scores, but I'm tempted for a tight kind of home win, sort of 2-1. 3-2, 3-1. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll go home win.
Home win. Ken's going draw.
Oh, You just changed your mind. You just changed your mind. You definitely had this down as a home win. I know that. And
You've got
you've
to
just
make it
changed your
interesting.
mind. You,
It's podcast 101. Make it interesting. Right, next game. Here's a tough one.
no,
Here's a tough one.
you should have said. We've been doing it for ages. You never told me to. You never told me to make it interesting.
Here's a tough one, though. I don't know which way I'm going to go on this. Arsenal against West Ham.
Well, listen, Nuno's teams. He had a good start, didn't he?
1-1 at Everton.
Yeah, he had a good start Monday night. Did old Nuno? So I can see West Ham getting something out of this game. I really can. I really can. I can see West Ham upsetting Arsenal.
Okay. What are you going for, Nick?
I don't know why. I've got something in my mind that suggests this is going to be like 0-0 or 1-1 or something like that. There's going to be some really random result.
Right. I am going to.
No, I haven't started yet. And the reason I say that is because last week I kind of did what appeared in my brain to be fairly obvious, and yet there were just a load of really random results.
It's going to happen.
Arsenal have played yesterday. They'll be tired. West Ham will have a week on the training ground with Nuno. They'll be more organised. They played a lot better up at Everton, even after having one training session with him. They'll frustrate Arsenal. They'll annoy them. They will defend and kick and fight. I can see this ending. I can see this ending in a draw. I can see this ending in a draw.
I'm going to put it down. You've said draw 4 times already in this one little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Home win.
Yeah, the competitive spirit eventually wins out over the gut feel there. Yeah,
if it's a draw, I'm counting that as well. Because
not sure how that works actually. Right, next one. Here's one for the. This could be a very important game. Man United against Sunderland. Man United.
This one's a bit clearer in my mind. Yeah.
Well,
I'm going.
Well, I reckon if he loses this, he's on very, very, very thin ice.
I think he is. I'm going away win. I think Sunderland will win.
Wow.
They've got nothing to lose, and they're playing really well. And Manchester United are just utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, look at last week's performance against Brentford. It was woeful, absolutely woeful.
Yeah.
Lacked any kind of energy. Sunderland obviously beat Forest, which was a very good result at Forest. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure it'll be an away win, but I think it'll be a low-scoring draw. I think it'll be a 1-1 or a 0-0. But you've clearly gone for the away win. Good.
There's nothing. It may well be that. It may well be 4-0 to Manchester United. Who knows?
No, it won't. Chelsea against Liverpool, the big game of the weekend.
Is it a big game? I don't know. It's two teams who are sort of misfiring. The more I see of Chelsea, the less I like about them.
Correct.
I'm not going to lie. I think they're a one-man team, and that one man is injured at the moment, and that's Cole Palmer. I think when he doesn't play, they just don't look nearly as good as when they do when he does play. And
Palmer's been off the boil for 6 months, though.
No, he's come back in a team.
Yeah,
and he's played really well. He's played really well. 2 or 3 games, then he's got injured again.
Yeah,
and guess what? Chelsea have gone off the boil again. It's quite a poor. I mean, look, it would help if they managed to keep 11 players on a pitch. That would help as a starter because they're not very good at that. 3 sendings in the last 4 games. That would help them. Liverpool, we all know kind of what's going on at Liverpool in terms of their defensive frailties, and they're just, again, off the boil. So you've got 2 teams here that are off the boil, Ken. Yeah. And I would have no way of knowing which way this game will go. Literally no way of going.
Oh, you paid the big money, Nick. You need to make a choice.
Yeah. Well, okay. In that case, I'll just go straight down the middle and say it's a draw.
Draw. Ken is going home win. I have no confidence in Liverpool at the moment. I just every time I watch them, I think they're massively overrated. And I know they had a great start to the season, but actually they didn't really. They just got a lot of late goals. And I think that was masking an awful lot of stuff that wasn't really working at Liverpool. I think
that's fair. But sooner or later, they've got to not stop being so rubbish. Now, whether it takes, and we talked about this the other day, didn't it? Look, put the old guard back in, take all the new players out of the team, take Kirkes out of the team, take Wirtz out of the team, put Robertson back in at left back. Go back to sort of some of what you were doing last season. and you might have a little bit more success. Ekitike's back, isn't he? And I think he's a big player for him. I'd expect him to start either up top or wide.
Oh, I think he will start. He looks much sharper than Isak at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, Isak's
Sooner or later, Salah's got to start firing. He's got to start firing.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be this weekend. I don't think it's going to be this weekend. I think Chelsea aren't great. Liverpool aren't great. I just think it'll be a very exciting game. I suspect, but I think Chelsea will come out.
Do you think I could be a really dull 0-0 draw?
I don't think so. Anyway, Global Sports Podcast Network partner with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements, because your body's unique. Because without knowing what deficiencies you have, taking off-the-shelf supplements mean you're probably not getting enough of the nutrients you need, maybe too many of the ones you don't. So Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs. There's no guessing involved. So go and click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025. You'll get 40% off your first order.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Okay, 5 more games to have a quick look at. First one, relatively straightforward. I think Villa, who are just starting, the seeds are starting to germinate. I think at Villa at last against Burnley, who difficult to beat, but don't score many. What do you reckon?
Not as straightforward as you might think. Yeah, Villa. Why are you making that face?
I can't help it. It's.
Oh, you're not making a face. That's just your face.
That actually is my face.
Yeah, look, Burnley sort of did a decent job at Man City last week before
losing 5-1.
Losing 5-1. But they started all right, and they were in the game for quite a long time. They were in the game for quite a long time. And it was only really in the latter part of the second half that Man City just ran away with it.
Yeah.
But for quite a long time, people are looking at this going, because I listened to this on the radio when I was out and about. And the radio commentators were all saying, look, we could be on for a massive shock here. And then Man City just eased away. 5-1 was not a true reflection of that game.
No, I agree with that.
So, and Villa are yes, they had a good win at last the other day, but confidence will be very fragile, and Burnley will make it difficult for them. And if Burnley score the first goal in this game, I think it could be a very tricky afternoon for Villa.
Okay,
I really do. So it might be one of those games. And if Villa get the first goal, you kind of think, right, confidence will be up. So it might just come down to that. It might be one of those games where he who scores first then goes on to win it. I think I'll go home win, based only because I thought last time out Villa played well, and there were certainly lots of good signs that they are coming back into form, and some of their key players are coming back into form. Ollie Watkins' first goal, he's the sort of player who can go on a little bit of a streak.
Yeah, and McGinn got a goal.
McGinn got a cracker. Yeah, Martinez sort of now back in goal and seemingly got the Man United move out of his head is very, very important. And we talked about Buendia coming back into the team when he came on at half-time for Harvey Elliott. So, yeah, okay. I think it's a good game for Villa, Burnley at home. It's a good game to sort of build on that confidence.
I think so too.
And I'm going home win. A difficult game. I think Burnley make it difficult for everybody they play against, but home win.
Yeah, I think so. I couldn't agree more. I think Ollie Watkins getting a goal, McGinn getting a goal. I just think I wouldn't be at all surprised if both of those players score again at the weekend. I think it'll be actually quite comfortable. I think Villa will get the first goal, end up winning 2-3-0. Here's an interesting one. Everton, who it's nice to see, are playing with some confidence, will have been a bit disappointed with their 1-1 against West Ham last time out. Palace, just amazing against Liverpool. We don't know how long the Palace bandwagon can continue. Obviously, they're up there in third place. This is a test for Palace. If they come through this, anything could happen. What do you reckon, Everton Palace?
Disappointing result for Everton on Monday night against West Ham. It was kind of a little bit of the Everton of old, where not a lot was going on. So I don't expect a repeat of that. Palace are the team of the moment, without a shadow of a doubt. They're playing tonight. They're playing at the moment. They're just coming up to half-time away at Dino Kiev, and they're winning 1-0.
Wow.
Daniel Munoz, the wing-back, scoring that goal. And so there's nothing to suggest that the Palace bandwagon isn't continuing to roll, but sooner or later, playing in Europe is going to catch up with them. It's very difficult playing Thursday, Sunday.
Coming back from the Ukraine tonight. Presumably.
Yeah, it's not easy. And I think they would have preferred this game to be maybe the Monday night game or something like that to give them an extra 24 hours. Yeah, you're right. Sooner or later, it's going to end. They're going to get beaten. I don't think it's going to be this weekend, though. I think this is one of those games where they'll go up to Everton, they'll get something out of the game, and I'm going for a point each draw.
Yeah, can't disagree with that myself. And I think it's got a draw written all over it. Palace are a very, very, very good team. Their first 11 is outstanding. Everton are still piecing together some confidence, and
Everton's problem is scoring goals, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the problem. They haven't got decent goal scorers. So Beton's not done a job. Barry's not done a job. So you're relying on Grealish, you're relying on Dewsbury Hall, you're relying on Njai. All of them are very, very good players. But I think if Everton are going to struggle this season, it's because they don't have that out-and-out goal scorer in the team.
No, I wouldn't disagree with that. Newcastle Forest. I've got a theory that Forest are really going to struggle. I think they're rubbish. I think they're going to struggle. I really think they're going to struggle. I think there's a mismatch between the coach and the talents and capabilities and attributes of the players. Tough game. I mean, Newcastle are in 15th place, by the way, as we talk. Forest is 17th. Newcastle obviously lost at home Arsenal, no disgrace in that. Forest lost 1-0 at home against Sunderland. There is disgrace in that.
Don't tell the Mackhams.
No, but you know what I mean. I think Newcastle are going to batter them. I think, especially after the performance last night. So I am going for a very clear home victory. Nick? I
think so too. They owe Forest at St James's Park. They're due a big win against them. It's been a pretty decent hunting ground for Forest in recent last couple of seasons. But I'll be interested to see how Forest get on tonight. They're playing in the Europa League tonight. And yeah, I'd like to think. I don't think they're as bad as you make out. Put it like that. So I was wondering where I was going with it. I don't think they're as bad a team as you make out. I thought they played well against Sunderland, and they really should have got something out of that game. Chris Wood missed an absolute sitter. They missed chances. The goal he pulled off, Roof, the goalie for Sunderland, was really good. Really good. He pulled off some very good saves, as he does most weeks. So,
But aren't they so dependent on Wood, though? I still think they're very dependent on Wood.
Yeah, I think, yes.
If Wood's out of form, forget it.
No, I'd agree. And he looks out of form. But then I remember, was it 2 years ago when he was a bit out of form? They went up there and he scored a hat-trick at St James's. Mm. So nobody expected that. So, yeah, I don't think they're as bad, but I do think they're still adjusting and they're still getting into their stride and they're still trying to work out quite what Ange wants to do. And I think Newcastle will be far too strong for them. Far too strong, and it could be a sort of 3 or 4 job.
It could be a high scoring game because Forest is suddenly Postecoglou wants them to be a high scoring team, doesn't he? Clearly,
yeah. But if you are pushing forward as they are doing now, much more under,
they are much more,
and you're then facing up Elanga, and you're facing up Voltemada, and you're facing up Gordon. Mm. And et al., Harvey Barnes and the like, whoever's coming on, Jacob Murphy. Although he might be injured, I can't think off the top of my head. Then you're going to be in trouble. And Elanga springs to mind because he's just one of the quickest players in the Premier League. He's lightning. And of course, he could do against Forest, exactly what he'd been doing for Forest the last 2 years, which is catching people on the break.
Yeah.
And running riot. So, yeah. A big confidence-boosting win for Newcastle last night. They'll take that into the game on Sunday. They'll win quite comfortably, I think.
I think so too. Forest could find themselves in the relegation zone if that's the case. Talking about the relegation zone, Wolves 20th versus Brighton in 10th. Wolves obviously had a bit of a, quite a more than deserved point against Spurs. Spurs scored late on. Brighton had a fantastic 3-1 victory against Chelsea last time out. Are Wolves turning the corner? I mean, have they've
Yes.
got their first point now?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they're as bad. I mean, they are as bad as being in 20th because the table says play 6, 0 wins. They haven't won a game yet this
1
season.
point out of 18.
Yeah, 1 point out of 18. So they are bad, but I don't think they're that bad. That said, Brighton are a very difficult team to play against. I sometimes wonder about Brighton, whether they're better away from home than they are at home. Whenever I watch them, I always I like watching them play away from home. You know, they play good football, they're fearless. And yeah, this will be a difficult one for Wolves. I think Brighton will win this.
Okay, I'm going to go for home victory. So we've got a clear gap there between us. I think, by the way, the relegation battle in the Premier League is going to be extremely hard to call this season, because the usual suspects, i.e. the promoted teams, don't seem interested in going back down again, apart from Burnley.
Yeah, I agree. Sooner or later, though, it gets very hard to play in this league.
Yeah.
And what Sunderland will find, and what Leeds will find, but Sunderland to a greater extent because they're just doing better. They've got 11 points off 6 games. Leeds have got 8 points off 6 games. Burnley have got 4 points off 6 games. Now, for Sunderland, getting points in the bag early is very important, because two things happen with promoted sides. They go in with a lot of momentum. They go in with a lot of enthusiasm. Everybody's up for it. It's new, it's shiny, it's exciting, it's brilliant. Then as the second half of the season rolls round, and also they have an element of surprise because teams haven't played you before. As the season rolls round, they tend to start dropping points because it becomes a slog and it becomes hard work, and also you start picking up injuries and you start picking up your first team. Generally, where promoted teams benefit most at the start of the season is having that first 11 fit and firing.
Yeah,
as soon as you start picking up injuries here, there, and everywhere, the players who are coming in aren't necessarily of the same quality, and they might not be Premier League quality. So that's when teams have sussed you out and know how you play, you've lost that element of surprise. So the second half of the season is always a lot harder than the first half for promoted sides. The more points you can get at the start of the season is absolutely vital. If you're Burnley sitting on 4 after 6, that's not going to get any easier. That's not going to get any easier. I would fear for Leeds still, but they're doing better than I thought they would do, and Sunderland doing a lot better than I thought they would do. So yeah, so it does make the whole relegation thing a little bit different this year, which is good to see, by the way. But there aren't. I mean, look, West Ham are down there, and that's going to be a hard ask. I still would fancy Wolves finishing above West Ham. And I don't know why. I just think they will. I just think they're I do like
the manager. I like the Wolves manager.
Yeah, I like Vito Pereira as well. I just don't get it. Why they're doing so badly. Forest 1 point and 1 place above the relegation zone. And I'm trying to say that without a massive smile on my face.
You'll have a bigger smile on your face come Sunday, don't you?
If Forest went down, we'll play Forest again in the Championship. That would be good.
You won't be in the Championship, though. That's the only issue. So we'll play, and Wrexham, I'll tell you what it was like. Right, okay. Final game of the weekend on Sunday as well. Brentford against Manchester City. Brentford in 13th. Done better at the start of the season than we actually predicted. We've got them predicted to go down, but they had a fantastic win, obviously, against Man United. Well, it's only Man United, 3-1. Obviously, City won 5-1 against Burnley. City weren't great last night. They were. I mean, again, we talked about Chris Wood being the absolute talisman for Forest. I mean, without Haaland, I mean, City are pretty ordinary.
Yeah, but luckily for them, they've got Haaland.
They've got him, though, yeah. And I've got him in the fantasy league team, so I'm quite happy.
Yeah, and so you should be. Look, that's the thing. That's the difficulty with predicting a game like this, because you've got Brentford versus Man City, and you've got Haaland, who's just a cheat code. So Brentford versus Man City without Haaland is a close game.
Yeah,
and you think, quite fancy something here. Brentford against Man City with Haaland becomes a different kind of kettle of fish altogether. And so I'm going to go for an away win, not because I think Man City are particularly good, not that I think they're actually much better than Brentford, particularly when they're playing at the G-Tech, but it's because they've got Haaland.
Yeah, I think, and Foden looks much better. I mean, they're not great. They're not firing all cylinders yet. City. It's probably, I think it is officially actually the worst start for about 10 years in the Premier League. But I just think they're going to have too much for Brentford. So I too am going for an away victory. Right, that's it. There's our predictions. Looking forward to seeing how all they work out. That will do 40 minutes of prize winning punditry from the Premier League. PPP. That's what you get here every day on the Daily Premier League podcast. That'll do it for today. Thanks for listening. I've been Ken Davis. Thank you very much. He's been Nick Britton.
And it's been a pleasure.
Have a good one, everybody.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.